Hey guys, Brie Marie D, Boston Banner Bound, back to talk to you about some Celtics stuff, Summer League stuff, off-season stuff, talking about what Dad Brad Stevens has done, do these trade moves, draft picks, free agency signings, do these things make us one step, and by one step I mean 2 steps, closer to getting Banner 18? I think so. So let's go over what I wrote down on my notes. We'll talk about it. The main thing that I want to talk about, the first thing that we should talk about, I should say, is all the work that Dad Brad GM Stevens has done. He's truly a genius, promoting himself to GM like that. Flawless. Genius. Love the guy. So the main thing that he did that I think is the biggest off-season move that he did was he got Malcolm Brogdon for literally a bag of chips. If I want to be more specific, we gave up Tice. Poor Tice. We've had him twice now. Maybe third time's a charm. Maybe we'll get him back. We love recycling players. Would love to see Tice back. Not so much the war on Tice, but I love Tice as a person and as a player. We will deeply miss Tice. Thank you for all that you did to contribute to the season. But we had to get rid of you in order to get Malcolm Brogdon, and I am okay with that. I said I literally quote tweeted myself. I took a screenshot of it. Someone asked me, hey, what are you willing to give up this offseason? I said literally the entire bench. And that's literally what we did here. So we got rid of Tice, Neesmith, Fitz, Stockus, Juwan Morgan, and we only had to give up one 2023 first-round pick for Malcolm Brogdon. That's a steal. That is a steal. We did not touch our core 4, not even our core 5, didn't touch any of our starters. And all we had to do was give up those handfuls of players, give up that handful of players, and one draft pick. That was it. That's awesome. I'm so excited. That's a huge pickup, huge win, super awesome. And then Brad wasn't done. He signed Danilo Gallinari for 2 years, $13 million. Again, chump change, easy money. Beautiful decision. Love that. So now we have 2 vets. Do we know if they're coming off the bench? Maybe. Brogdon could start. I don't see any problems with that. Again, you know how Brad was and you know how Ime is. They are very much people who will decide by the matchups what they want their starting 5 to be. There's no high maintenance people on this team. There's no divas on this team. So if, for example, our defensive player of the year needs to come off the bench as a 6th man to benefit the team, he'll do it. All of them have no problem with taking a back seat if that means they're one step closer to Banner 18. So love that. We also signed Sam Hauser to a 3-year, $6 million deal. And then the NBA draft happened. We did not have a high pick, so we kind of got what we could get. And honestly, we picked J.D. Davison. He's not bad. He looks pretty good in the Summer League. I believe with the way that the Celtics organization functions, they will be able to mold him into the player that they need him to be. Also, I'm going to read over the 5 Summer League games real quick. I didn't get to watch any of these games because, as you know, I work 3 jobs and it's also Red Sox season. So I didn't really want to tease myself by watching Summer League ball because I miss my Celtics so much and that's kind of like torture. But after the Summer League performance, the Celtics are signing center Mfiondu Kabengele. I think that's how you say his name. Or we can just give them nicknames. I might call this guy Cabby. We signed him to a 2-way contract after the Summer League games were over. Also, breaking news was that Boston Celtics assistant coach Will Hardy is now the new head coach of the Utah Jazz. So that kind of stinks because obviously we want quality coaches on our bench. But it's good for him. I'm proud of him. Congrats to him. I'm sure he'll do really well as the head coach of the Jazz. All right, so they originally were only going to play 4 Summer League games, but they ended up playing 5. They lost the first one, 88-78, against Miami. Unfortunately, in this game, J.D. Davison got hurt and left the game. News about Matt Ryan. This was super sad, but hit me in the feels for sure. He ended up crying after the post-game interview, just after his breakout performance that he had. And he was just saying, a year ago, I was driving DoorDash, and now I'm playing in the Summer League for the Boston Celtics, and just kind of, that hits you in the feels. Makes you also want to cry because, this stuff is not, it's more than a game. It's life-changing, and it just shows, passion and dedication. And I want a lot of players on my team to have that type of commitment. I want all the players on my team to have that type of motivation, commitment, dedication, drive, and fire to want to play this game and to want to do well and succeed. And that was just a huge feel-good moment, and definitely brought tears to a lot of our eyes. And then after this first game, the Celtics picked up Justin Jackson. He was a former Kings and Mavs player to play for the rest of the games for the Summer League for the Celtics. Not sure. We haven't heard any word yet if he's going to actually be signed as a two-way, if he's going to join the main Red Claws. We don't really know. We haven't heard much talk of him and if he's made enough of an impact in the Summer League to be somebody that the Celtics sign for a future contract. Haven't heard that yet, but our ears are going to stay open for that. The next game they played was against the Bucks. 111-109 win. So this is where the Celtics then go on a 3-game win streak. Davison did play. The injury wasn't serious from the last game, so no lingering injuries. Thank God, knock on wood. Didn't want to see anybody get hurt. Then the next game, they won 103-92. That was against Golden State. I watched a little bit of this game. The Celtics were looking really good. Summer Celtics were looking really good. They went on a 16-2 run in the first quarter. I made notes of Broderick Thomas, Trayvon Williams, and Cabanelli. They were up by 20 at half. However, Celtics, whether it's Summer League or normal league, apparently love blowing blowouts. So Warriors ended up cutting the lead to 6 with 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And I was like, oh, isn't this a familiar feeling? Celtics blowing 20-point leads, but they ended up getting the win still, 103-92. Then they took on the Memphis Grizzlies, won that game 108-91. Like I said, 3-game win streak after that first loss, so they're 3-1 right now. And then they snuck in a 5th game. They ended up playing the Nets, and they lost this game 102-95. They ended the Summer League 3-2. They did not make it to the finals for Summer League. Apparently, this was the first time ever that Summer League, if you win the tournament of the Summer League, you actually get a championship ring, which I think is super weird and super tacky. I don't really get the point. But the Blazers won, and the Blazers got a ring for being the champions of the Summer League. So I guess we're just handing out rings and trophies for everything nowadays. That's interesting. So yeah. Last thing I wanted to note, the NBA has finally approved the play-in to be a standard thing now, which I love because I think the play-in gives more aggressiveness. It gives more competitiveness. I like to see the fight. I like to see, people being challenged and not just a cakewalk to get into the playoffs. I like that there's a fight now. So I'm really liking that. Also, they added a penalty for a take foul. So I'm just going to explain what a transition take foul is from the definition that they gave, and then I'm going to explain what the new penalty is for that now. So a transition take foul, beginning with the 2022-2023 NBA season, the penalty for committing a take foul, a foul in which the defender does not make a play on the ball to stop a transition scoring opportunity, which exists when following a change in possession, the offensive team is continuously advancing the ball while it has an advantage based on the speed of the play, the position of the defenders, or both, will be as follows. The offensive team will be awarded one free throw, which may be attempted by any player on the offensive team in the game at the time the foul is committed. The offensive team will then retain possession of the ball, and the defensive player who commits the take foul will be assessed a common personal foul. So previously, the penalty for a take foul was a common personal foul on the offending player, and the assuming foul did not trigger or exceed the free throw bonus in a quarter and was a side out for the offensive team. So basically, to sum it up, a penalty for the take foul, the team gets the ball and a free throw. Players now have to make a play for the ball to avoid the take foul penalty. So this is basically just giving that team, basically, if you want to call it like a breakaway, for example. Say someone's like going on a breakaway and they have a clear path to getting a basket, getting 2 points, typically, or even 3. They are now saying if you foul somebody that has nothing to do with that play to just stop the continuing of play, you are now going to be penalized more because you're taking away that blatant opportunity from the offensive team. So I do like this. I do like this new decision. I think that that's great because, if you didn't get penalized, why wouldn't you stop them from a breakaway to the rim? I totally agree. So I like that has now been called into play. The last thing I want to say, I forgot that I had one more thing I wanted to say. The TPE. So today is the 18th. Brad, I don't know if it was like a 5 o'clock deadline, whatever time of day deadline he had, but it was today was the day that the TPE expired. People were making speculations that Brad was going to use this TPE in order to get another backup center or another backup guard. It's been crickets. We haven't heard anything since the Danilo Gallinari and the Malcolm Brogdon additions. So I mean, it goes without saying, if we don't hear anything by midnight tonight, they didn't use the TPE and it just expired, and it is what it is. Not much more to say about that. Would it have been nice to use that exception? Sure. But you know what? I trust in Dad Brad Stevens. He's going to make the right move to benefit the team and improve the team. And if he didn't feel like he needed to use the TPE, then he didn't need to use it. If he's going to do more moves, off-season moves, we will be open to whatever other moves he makes. I really like the moves he's made so far. I think we have gotten better. I think that we look really good. And I think the odds are in our favor again, pretty high, to make it to the finals. So I'm really excited. Like I said, we were 2 wins away from the whole thing this year, and that was coming as an underdog team. No one expected it. This season's going to be a whirlwind. Don't know where KD's going. Don't know where Kyrie's going. Russ might get booted off the Lakers. Kyrie might go back to being a Robin to LeBron's Batman. Don't know where KD's going because one of the main places that KD might have gone was the Suns. But with that whole DeAndre Ayton thing, they don't have the money for KD. It's just all a question mark. No one knows what's going on. And we're all kind of just left in limbo and in suspense to see where these big time names are going to fall. And it's just very interesting. I think it's going to be a crazy season. And I think that the Jason Tatum 2023 Revenge Tour is going to be hot. So that's all I have to say right now about the Celtics. I'm very, very optimistic. I love my team. Anything to make my team better, I will support. And now I'm going to transition into Red Sox. All right, back with an edition of Sox Talk. Boston Banner Bound, Red Sox, Sox Talk edition. So I'm just going to fill you in from where I left off. Now, when I left you, Celtics, Red Sox were on a 7-game win streak. The Sox were 42-31. And I forgot to mention my boy Rob. So it's interesting cheering for a Rob, and it's not Rob, Time Lord, Lob, Rob, God, the Williams, the third. It's actually Rob Refsnyder. And I really do. I'm a big fan of this guy. I think he's really good for the Red Sox. I forgot to mention him in my last Sox Talk edition. I think he's a great addition. I really like him. And I just needed to give him his flowers because I think he's doing a really good job. So when I left off, Rafi Devers, last 3 games, he was 6 for 13. He had 25 doubles, 17 home runs at this point. The Sox were 11-2 in their last 13 games. However, like I said when I left you, so this is back on June 27th, they were going to take on the Toronto Blue Jays in Canada. Told you that Tanner Houck and Jarren Duran were not eligible to travel due to the fact that they are not vaccinated, and Canada still has those laws in place. So they snapped their 7-game win streak. They lost the first game 7-2. They had to pull a minor leaguer to start as a pitcher. Seabold, his second career start in MLB. He recorded his first career strikeout. However, he gave up 3 home runs in 7 innings. Rob had a 6-game hitting streak going into this game. However, he did not get a hit and ended his 6-game hitting streak as the leadoff batter. Trevor Story struck out 3 times. It just wasn't a great start to the series in Toronto. They lost again the next game, 6-5. Now going from a 7-game win streak to a 2-game losing streak. The Toronto Blue Jays had a walk-off in the bottom of the 9th. Not starting off the game hot. Strike him out, throw him out. Devers strikes out looking in a double play, tosses out Rob trying to steal on strike 3. So just wasn't a good way to set the tone, not good base running, mental errors there. Waka walked 2 in a row, and that cost them. Verdugo tried to jump and catch a ball that hits off the wall. That scored a run. 2-run gapper with 2 outs. A solo shot by Story at the top of the 2nd, but the Jays were leading 3-1 at this point. The Sox tied it up in the 7th, 4-4. Sox take the lead 5-4 in the 8th, tied it up 5-5 in the bottom of the 9th. People were upset that Danish stayed in for 2 innings and became the closer somehow of this game. It was the 7th walk-off loss of the season. So it was a close game. I mean, they fought back, just couldn't get it done. Was it a questionable call to leave Danish in? Listen, Cora is very deliberate in what he does, and when people do attack him and question his choices, he says, I'm the coach, I make the calls. And he sticks by what he does. So you're never going to have Cora be like, I think he would say if he made a mistake, but he stands by his choices, whether it's bad or good. He'll say, that was my choice. I'll take that. That was on me. So people were questioning him. He said, that's what I wanted to do. End of story. The next game, the Red Sox actually get the win here, 6-5 in extras. Franchi had a bunt to lead off, steals second. There's an overthrow. He takes third. Rob has an RBI sac fly to tie the game 1-1, top of the third inning. 7-game hit streak for Vazzy. So I just want to take a moment to give Christian Vazquez his flowers. I never really liked him on the offensive end. Great catcher. Great captain type player. He was not a hitter in my eyes. He was an automatic out in my eyes. This season alone, and it's only been 93 games so far, he has completely changed my opinion on him as a hitter. I assume he's done a lot of off-season work on this, and he looks so much better as a hitter. And I just want to give him his flowers and his props on that because it's been a world of difference, and I'm really impressed with Vazzy. And he's become a real true captain type player on both ends of the field, batting and in the field, I mean. And it's a joy to see. I'm very happy, very satisfied with the production that Vazzy has been doing at the plate. Sox had a 3-2 lead in the 6th. Pivetta hit Kirk and the bench is clear. So there was a fight, just nonsense happening. They tied up the game in the 8th. Strom pitched the 9th. Then it went into extras, bases loaded, no outs, hit by a pitch, walked in a run. Bogues hit into a double play. Verdugo, 2 RBI double, 6-3. I wrote scary extras, rallied with 2 outs to almost get another walk-off. So yeah, they won it 6-5 in extras by the hair of their chin. And now, see what I said? Strom was the closer. So we're halfway through the season, a little more than halfway. They like to consider the All-Star break the halfway point, even though there's only 69 games left to go after the All-Star break. They've played 93 out of 162, and we still don't have a closer. We still don't really have middle relievers. We really don't have any starters. I'm kind of going off script, but I'll get to the pitching issues a little later as I go throughout this recap because it's just chaos. But the fact that Strom is closing is just like, what? Like, it's just chaos. There's no other way to describe it. Then they have a day off. Then they continue their away journey and go to the Chicago Cubs. At this point, we're at July 1st. They play a 3-game series in Chicago, and they lose this series 1-2. Lost the first game 6-5, lost the second game 3-1, back on a 2-game losing streak. And then they won the last game 4-2 in extras, 11 innings. The Sox are now 44-35 on the season. Then they go home for the 4th of July. They take on the Tampa Bay Rays. They actually win this game on the 4th. 4-0. Now they're on a 2-game win streak. Lose the next 2, so they lose this series against the Rays. And they lost the second game 8-4. Pivetta was not great, is what I noted. And then they lost the third game 7-1. 2-game losing streak. Sox are now 45-37. This game was the Bello debut. So they DFA'd Robles, which a lot of people are happy about because Robles hasn't been doing much. So they DFA'd him in order for Bello to debut. Didn't show us too much here because they lost the game 7-1. Then they take on the Yankees. We're now at July 7th. They take on the Yankees for a 4-game homestand. They lost the first game 6-5. Sox are now on a 3-game losing streak. They're 45-38. However, I will note that Red Sox star Devers now has 6 career home runs off Yankees ace Garrett Cole, most of any opposing hitter. So Devers owns Garrett Cole is the moral of that story. I noted Franchi error, JBJ misreading a ball, thinking that it was going out, causing a triple. Devers gets hurt this game and won't play the next 3 games. So that hurt the team for sure, Devers going down. errors and just kind of like mental errors, really, you there's no room for error when you're playing a team like the Yankees. So those little minor mistakes cost them the game. They only lost by 1 this game, and that is why they lost. Next game, they lost 12-5. 4-game losing streak now. Another error, and this time it's Arroyo. He loses the ball in the lights on a pop-up. The same thing that happened to Franchi. He did the same thing, losing the ball in the lights on a pop-up. I don't know. I get it, but I don't get it. Like, it's tough. And I noted that JBJ ended up pitching this game. We had position players pitching. It was just chaos. The wheels fell off. It was that bad. It was a disaster. Moving on. They then won the next 2, so they split the series with the Yankees. Red Sox won 6-5 in a walk-off in the 10th inning, and then they won 11-6. Vasquez and Franchi and JD Martinez all get home runs. Boone gets ejected. There was a no-out, bases loaded, 3-run RBI double by Story to take the lead 10-6, ultimately winning the game 11-6. They split the series, like I said, and then they go to the Tampa Bay Rays. This is on July 11th. First game, the Rays took out their starting pitcher in the first inning and have themselves a bullpen game. The Red Sox were losing 5-1 in the bottom of the second inning. They tied it up 5-5 in the 5th inning. There was a double steal. JD Martinez is now back to his hitting ways, it looked like, but they ended up ultimately losing this game 10-5. The wheels just fell off. The pitching, again, is a huge issue. Sox are now 47-40. They lose the next game, are now on a 2-game losing streak. They lose this game 3-2. The Sox are 47-41. Finally, we thought that there was a light at the end of the tunnel. Sale is finally cleared to pitch in a professional MLB game, and he is scheduled to pitch on July 12th. It was his first appearance since October of last year. Also, Devers returns this game as well. So we're getting back our offensive power in Devers and our defensive power in Sale. However, Story gets hurt. He gets hit by a pitch, and now he's on the 10-day IL. It's crazy, though, because he did technically get hit by the pitch, but because he swung at it, it was considered a strike. And he was not awarded first base, and he actually had to leave the game. He didn't even finish the at-bat. Jeter Downs had to come in for him and finish the at-bat, and we haven't seen Story since. He's been on the 10-day IL since then. And I noted a squeeze bunt by Franchi to score a run, takes the lead 1-0. I love small ball in baseball. It's my favorite thing to see, that type of play being utilized on a professional level, especially in a men's league. I love it. It brings so much joy to my life. I also love when it's successful. So loved seeing that squeeze bunt. Then Bobby D gets an RBI triple, puts the Sox up 2-0. Sale had a good stat line. He pitched 5 innings. The highest he hit was 97 miles per hour. He only walked 1. He had 5 strikeouts. He did allow 3 hits. Sox throw away the lead on throwing errors. Strom gets hit and hurt and tries to make an unnecessary throw to first. He overthrows it, and then a wild throw to the catcher costs another run, and it actually changed the lead, and now it put the Rays up 3-2. Sox will leave the Trop winless in 10 series versus AL East teams and has lost twice as many games in the division as they have won. Yikes. But at this point, they still held the second wild card spot. Sale was 5 scoreless, and both Whitlock and Evaldi were set to return Friday. Like I said, they lost that game 3-2. Then they lost the next game 4-1. Sox are now on a 3-game losing streak. Their record is 47-42. Lost the third game 5-4. Sox were leading 3-0. Then the Rays scored 5 in the 7th inning to take the lead. Top of the 9th, Verdugo RBI doubles. But the Rays led 5-4 and ended up winning the game 5-4. Red Sox got swept, 4-game losing streak. Sox are now 47-43. And this was the last series of this first half of the season before the All-Star break. And of course, it was in the Bronx against the Yankees. They started off great. They actually won the game 5-4 in extras in 11 innings. Raffy had a 2-run homer off the first pitch in the first. Stanton had a 3-run homer with 2 outs in the third. A solo home run from, again, my boy Vazzy to tie it up 3-3 in the fourth. Bobby D had a solo home run in the top of the 7th to take the lead 4-3. An overthrow bunt to Tanner Houck trying to go to third. Overthrows it. That ties up the game 4-4. They go into extras. And then this was just savage. Bogey steals home on a passed ball, but the passed ball was in front of the catcher. That's like unheard of. To be that ballsy, to steal home when the play is in front of the catcher. Just wild, wild, bananas, savage. Ended up winning the game 5-4 in extras. It was just a crazy start, and that was like, hey, so you're saying there's a chance. Like, Evaldi came back, Whitlock came back. They pitched well. They had a great game. They set the tone, or I thought they were setting the tone for this series against the Yankees, but then it all falls apart, as it always does, in true Boston fashion. The next game, they lost 14-1. Like, is that a football score or is that a baseball score? I don't know how it's a baseball score. But Red Sox lose 14-1. Devers' first pitch was a solo home run, and they were leading 1-0 at the top of the first, and I was like, yeah, let's go. We're picking up where we left off. We're going to completely destroy this team. And that was the only run scored in the entire game, the top of the first. First pitch swinging, Devers. That was it. No other runs. I don't really know what their hit production was, but it 0 across the board in runs after that. And the Yankees just went off. Yankees score 4 in the bottom of the first. Solo home run, Judge, bottom of the 5th, 5-1. 3-run home run by Carpenter. Dude needs to shave his porn stash. He looks 50 years old, but he really became a breakout star for the Yankees. It's just wild. No one saw that coming. I'm disgusted by it. 8-1 lead. Yankees lead, bottom of the 5th. Judge 2-run home run in the bottom of the 6th. 10-1 Yankees. Davis walked in a run with the bases loaded, 11-1, bottom of the 8th. Sox just falling apart, 14-1 with 1 out, bases loaded, and Davis gets pulled. It was just a disgusting display. Next game wasn't any better. This was supposed to be Sale's second game back after not playing since October. He had, like I said, he had a good outing against the Rays, pitched 5 innings. 5 strikeouts, walked 1, 3 hits. This was supposed to be his second game back. He gets hit by a line drive pitch back to the pitcher, breaks his pinky in the first inning. So can you see where I'm going? Yeah, didn't get any better. So Red Sox lost again in disgusting, embarrassing fashion, 13-2. They are now on a 2-game losing streak. Yankees were leading only 3-2 in the second and then 11-4 in the 4th inning, and it just went all downhill. So 13-2 was the final score of the game. Red Sox end the first half of the season 49-44 on a 2-game losing streak. They lost 6 of their last 7 heading into the All-Star break. They have 4 days off. For the All-Star break, Devers is the starter for third. Bogey is a backup shortstop, and JD made the All-Star selection by replacement as a DH. And those are the 3 that we have playing in the All-Star game. Like I said, they played 93 of 162. And also in the MLB draft, the Red Sox took a high school player, 18 years old. He's a shortstop out of California. His name is Romero, and it says he has great range in the field, and he will possibly stick at short as a backup shortstop for the long term. Like I said, All-Star break, they have 4 days off. Then they start a new series at home against the Rays again on Friday. They have 69 games left. Once the All-Star break is over, they again play 17 games straight right after the All-Star break without a break. I think that's pretty typical by now. Their schedule has been grueling. They haven't had many days off, maybe 1 or 2 days max off in a month. So they are getting their reps in. Injuries have been killing us. I haven't seen Kike in months. Don't know when he's coming off the IL. Like I said, Trevor Story is now on the IL. We just got Evaldi and Whitlock back. Sale goes back on the IL after only being able to play a game and maybe an inning. Like, it wasn't even a full inning, so I don't even know. He's pitched 5.1 innings and went right back on the IL. He is the most unlucky human I've ever seen on the face of this earth. I feel like we're just setting fire to money looking at this guy. I don't know. I honestly have no idea what the timetable looks like for him to return. All I can pray for is that the Red Sox have a miraculous post-All-Star break Celtics-like vibes, that they just go from worst to first. Oh, also I wanted to tell you the standings. That's right. Just the last thing that I want to touch upon before leaving you. So as it looks right now, the Yankees sit in the first spot of the American League East with a record of 64-28. Tampa Bay is 13 games back from them with a record of 51-41. The Toronto Blue Jays are right behind them in the third spot with a record of 50-43. And then the Red Sox are in the fourth spot with a record of 48-45. They are 16 and a half games back from first place, aka the Yankees. And then Baltimore is in the fifth spot, 46-46. They're out of 500. And if you're looking at the wild card standings, you got Tampa Bay in the first spot, Seattle Mariners in the second spot, Toronto Blue Jays in the third spot, and we're 2 games back in the fourth spot. So I'm not even sure at this point if we're even in wild card contention. It's just not looking great. Like I said, they need a Celtics turnaround second half of the season miracle. And I'm just hoping that, if we can get healthy and if we can find some pitching help. We don't have a set closer still to this day. We don't really have any good starters. Our middle relievers are average at best. It's one thing, yes, like our offense needs to wake up, because obviously if you don't score runs, you can't win a game. But if you can't defend either and you're getting blown out by 14 runs, that's a problem. And it doesn't help when they're making defensive errors either in the field. So it all just needs to be tightened up, fundamental baseball. There's a lot of games left to play. Anything can happen. There's a lot of games in this season. I just need them to tighten it up. And I need them to just have more help. Like, it's a struggle to see the pitching be this bad. So they need to dish out some money. They need to pay Devers immediately. That is the number one thing. He is the face of this organization. He needs to be signed for life. And then figure out the Bogey situation. I don't know if we're going to keep Bogues. Like I said, we signed Trevor to a 5-year. He's a real shortstop. I don't know. I do know Devers' contract needs to be the number one thing, and then pitching needs to be the second thing, and go from there. So that has been Sox Talk. This has also been Celtics Talk. Bannerbound, Brie Marie D. I'll be back with you to talk more Sox talk since we are in baseball season. And if any breaking news happens for the Celtics, I will definitely jump on here and give my 2 cents on that. Thank you for always tuning in, and I will talk to you guys next time. Happy summer.